Hey, what's up, guys? Charles Van Mediva here again with another episode of Temecula Spotlight, here with my associate Joel Daniel, broker owner of Greenleaf Real Estate. Welcome again.
Thank you.
And our special guest today is Melissa Freeman, who has an amazing tattoo business going on right here in town. And so we wanted to bring her in and kind of spotlight her and showcase her and see how, what are you doing, how are you doing it? And hopefully you'll get some interest out of this. So tell us to begin with a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in Temecula? What's the name of your business?
Yeah, for sure. So I have now been in Temecula for 5 years. We moved out here from Colorado to be closer to family and to just get out of the snow because it snows a lot in Colorado. I have been tattooing for 14 years now. And my shop that I work at is called Envision Tattoo over on Jefferson and Date Street in Marietta.
Jefferson and Date Street. Good to go. Okay, good to go. So what got you into the tattoo industry? Why tattoos?
I had always been an artist growing up. It was always like my out. As a child, if I needed to take a break, if I had a struggle, I would just sit and draw. When I was 18 and graduating from high school, I tried the college route. I was actually blessed with a full ride scholarship to CU Boulder. I tried that for about 28 seconds and it just wasn't my thing. It was an awesome opportunity and I'm very grateful for being able to try college, but I am not an in the box type of person. And I knew fairly quick that I just wasn't something, I wasn't going to go down that route of college degree, square job, I suppose. I'm just not a square person. Yeah. So I wanted to find something that I could be successful at and use my creativity because I feel like I was given a gift that I can just sit down and draw whatever is in my head. And so at the time, to be a paid artist is to be a paid artist is a very challenging, the term starving artist is very real. To be a successful print artist or graphic artist or whatever, it's just a challenging field to be in. And at the time, tattooing really wasn't mainstream. So when I was telling my friends, my family that I was going to drop out of a full ride scholarship to go be a tattoo artist, I got some interesting raised eyebrows. Because back then, I mean, this wasn't that long ago, but the tattoo industry was always kind of bikers, gang bangers. It wasn't a nice place for some 18-year-old Colorado girl to jump into. But I was driven and I wanted to try something that was outside of the box. I saw potential in it. I saw a way that I could use my creativity as well as I enjoy hanging out with people. I enjoy sitting and getting to know people and hearing stories. And I just saw it as something that I'm like, I could do this. Awesome. And I figured at the time I was 18. If I didn't like it, I could just move on to something different. But awesome. It's been 14 years.
I just had a quick question for you. As an artist, was it different? Like, if you can draw well, can you be a tattoo artist? Or is there a learning curve to being an artist and drawing something and actually drawing it on somebody's body?
It's definitely two different avenues.
Is it tougher to be a tattoo artist?
when you're sitting and drawing on a piece of paper, for one, if you mess up, you can erase it. Mm-hmm. Super easy. Or toss it away or whatever. I don't like this piece. Also, the piece doesn't move. It doesn't pass out on you. It doesn't leave. It doesn't have to go to the bathroom. It doesn't. Obviously, yes, you do need to be a very good artist, but you also have to be, you have to work with the unknown because every single person is different. Every single situation is different. Skin is different. You don't have one type of skin. You could have a person who takes ink beautifully and you could have the next person who doesn't for no rhyme or reason.
What's the longest? I'm very curious. What's the longest amount of time that you've worked on someone's body for one tattoo?
About 10 hours.
10 hours?
Yes.
Could you last that long, Joel?
So they sat for 10 hours.
Yes.
Did you guys take a break for lunch or something?
I mean, we took some breaks. But it was a kid. He was being deployed. I was in Colorado at the time, and I worked outside of Buckley Air Force Base. And he was being deployed to, I believe, Iraq, and he wanted a full sleeve done. And so
before he left. And so we just sat and we tattooed.
Melissa, you're a veteran?
No, I am not.
Okay. But you see a lot of military clients out here.
Yeah, out here.
Temecula, Murrieta area. Mm-hmm. Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
I have to ask you, what advice would you give to someone maybe that's considering getting into tattooing out here, maybe becoming your competitor?
It's definitely something. It's worth the amount of work to put in, but it's a lot of work.
The amount of work to get started, to figure it out.
You're working nights, weekends, holidays. You're missing everything. You are, because you're working when everybody else isn't. It's much like real estate.
Yeah.
You are, there's no clock out. There's no, okay, I need to be done, because if I'm not at the shop working, I'm at home drawing, or I'm, fielding client questions. And you have to be there to, when other people aren't, working. Yeah. And then also it's if I'm not tattooing, I'm not making money. And so if I have kids to feed, I have bills to pay. And if I'm not there, it's not an hourly job if I'm just sitting there. So you're always working, you're always promoting, you're always putting yourself out there. And then it's definitely a learning curve. You're apprenticing anywhere from 6 months to 2 years under somebody who is considered a master tattooer. It's a lot of work, and it's not for the faint of heart. You can't really have you have to have thick skin. People try to hurt your feelings.
Wow.
You're in the people world, and it's definitely a, it's probably much like real estate.
Yeah, it's interesting to talk to somebody about something that I've never known much about, just to hear what you have to say about the industry.
Yeah.
Because,
Have you ever messed up?
Well,
and what happened? Be honest.
Thankfully, I have never messed up, but it's a lot more forgiving than you would think.
But there's no going back.
There's no going back. There's no going back. But when you're trained appropriately, you know the different ins and outs of it. So if a client does move on you and the line gets a little wobbly, you put a little shading next to it. So there's definitely some ways to go around situations. But no, I've never spelt anything wrong or had some catastrophic oops. Thankfully, knock on wood.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting before we started the podcast or video, whatever you want to call it. You were talking about how the industry's changed in way of you use your Instagram now and social media basically to run and thrive through your whole business. Can you just talk about, how, and maybe, somebody else in the industry that's struggling a little bit, what you've done to get business, not only from the area of Temecula, but you're saying all over, America, people fly to see you, and just go into a little bit about how you, get your name out there.
Yeah, for sure. So when I started tattooing, a client would have to walk through the door, look at portfolios. So every shop would have a lineup of portfolios in the front. So they would flip through, they would thumb through, seeing what kind of style, if they had a style that they liked, or they wanted to talk to an artist. And so your group of people was really constricted to just kind of the area you were in, because people weren't going to travel super far unless it was, they knew someone or were from somewhere. But for the most part, people stayed in their area. So they would walk into the shop and they would, you would have to essentially sell your art, you had to be nice to people for them to come back. So they would flip through, and then you would, make an appointment, and they would come back and get tattooed. So when I started tattooing, there was no social media. And I was joking that when I first opened my business, I was doing radio recordings and newspaper ads and stuff like that, because that's where people were. But as the industry has changed, and as social media has become a tool for everybody, I've gone completely online on social media. And so what's neat is, for the most part, I probably don't meet about 95 to 98% of my clients before they walk through the door. And so we've had full interactions on social media. They found my portfolio. They found my Instagram. They've, thumbed through the years and years of posts that I've made. They've become comfortable with, they're like, I like this person. I like this style. Because what's neat about it is, when you have a social media page, there's enough like personal information on there, personal stuff that they can kind of connect with you.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I get a lot of, so I homeschool my kids. I'm a, advocate for a lot of different things. And so I get a lot of people who are like, I really connected with you because you homeschool your kids and because you are artsy and you're outdoors and you like to build stuff and you and your husband do old cars. And so they find bits and pieces to connect with you. And then they almost walk in with this relationship. Then we get to actually meet. I reupholster stuff, and so I redid it, and yeah, it's been the chair. So really, anybody who's gotten tattooed throughout the years knows the chair.
I'll ask you something on behalf of all the Temecula business owners or aspiring business owners watching this. Do you have to have a website?
Honestly, I don't have a website. I've dropped my website several years ago when social media became a big thing.
Yeah.
I can't vouch for like other businesses as far as like people who like sell stuff or have like, but I mean, as far as like the art wise and selling stuff, people are on social media.
Because you're able to showcase your product,
yes,
quote unquote, so well on social media that's where the credibility is coming from,
yes,
right? I'm looking at what you did. Oh, that's good enough for me. I'm going to call you and you're going to transact business.
Exactly.
Whereas a website is, what is it about? Credibility? What?
Yeah, I think it just depends on what industry you're in. Honestly,
Okay.
Hers, again, as we were talking about before we even started, the Instagram thing for a tattoo artist and being able to, see the art. I can see how that, that is one industry that if you're not on Instagram and you're a tattoo artist, you're like dead or not, or missing out.
You're not. I mean, everybody, like I said, most of the people I tattoo, I don't meet until they walk through the door. And I ask every one of them, hey, how'd you find me? Oh, I was on Instagram. I was hashtagging female tattoo artists. I was hashtagging California. It's, you actually mentioned it. It's become a search engine, especially for the younger crowd of, when they go to a new area, they will hashtag search different things. Like you were saying, your daughter hashtag search restaurants and whatnot. And so people will hop on because it gives it credibility because it's more than just a website that was updated a year ago. It's a social media page is updated daily, sometimes hourly. I mean, sure. I'm personally, I post, my different feeds with the stories and like I'm posting my life. And so it's more of this fluid, you're almost, like I said, you're getting to know the person without meeting the person.
That's amazing.
And I do connect with you.
Before I forget this question, do tattoo artists have like a genre or a specific, I don't even know what the question would be, but when you do art, do people contact you because you have sort of a specific style?
Yes.
A specific style. So are there different styles as tattoo artists? Like, are you totally different than somebody else in way of how your style is and how you draw? And maybe that's another reason when somebody sees your picture on Instagram, that's the type of style of tattoo that they want.
Yes, that's exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have all different types of genres of tattoos, whether it be traditional or realism. You have neo-traditional. You have all these different, and then also just styles within styles. I do a lot of like floral, black work, dot work, stippling tattoos, like sacred geometry, just a lot of line work tattoos, and people are very drawn to that style. It's
which this is a crazy question. Which part of the body does it hurt the most to do a tattoo?
Torso area. So rib cage, stomach, anywhere. If you were to picture yourself like in fetal position, anywhere that's covered is pretty painful.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey, this podcast is spotlighting what's going on here in Temecula, Murrieta as well. I know Joel does a lot of real estate business in the area. We want to ask you, how do you like living here?
I really enjoy living here. I'm originally from Colorado, Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And we moved out here to be closer to family. My family's from this area. My parents grew up in Temecula, Murrieta. So all of my extended family is near here. So it's nice. We wanted to raise our kids near family. I just really enjoy how family friendly it is here. You get the California feel, but you don't have the California crazy, I suppose.
Right.
You're an hour away from LA, from San Diego, from the mountains, from the beach, from the desert. You can get anywhere within an hour. And that's why I really enjoy this area. And it's also just, people are very nice here. It's
funny that you say that because, I've done over 100 videos on YouTube and basically what you just said, a lot of that is how I portray Temecula Murrieta area. It's, it's safe. It's got good schools. It's not what you would typically think of a big city like Los Angeles or San Francisco being. It's even those 100,000 people, and people, sometimes bitch about traffic, but it's not. You still have a little bit of a small town feel here.
Yes, I'm from
for being Southern California.
Yeah, because I'm from rural Colorado, and so it's neat to. Well, it is funny when people talk about this area being rural. I'm like, well, this is not rural, but for California,
You're
it
like,
is.
I've seen rural.
I'm like,
and this ain't it.
rural is being 3.5 hours away from every airport, Costco, Target, everything.
Yeah,
but no, I do. I like living here because of that, because it is more rural for California. You get that small town feel,
Absolutely.
you get that family friendly, but you're so close to everything.
So what are your future plans for business out here?
As far as future goes, right now I'm just focusing on just my art. I also have 2 little kids, and so I'm focusing on just bringing them up to be good little dudes. But as far as what I'm doing, I just am going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Do they have any interest in what you're doing?
My younger son does. Yeah. My younger son does. Yeah.
Are you looking to groom him, or you're like, no, don't do this. Don't do
That's
this.
where it is kind of a challenge because, people do ask me, they're like, I want to get into tattooing. I'm like, don't do that.
Why?
Because it's, I love it. It's the most amazing thing. It's opened up so many cool doors for me. I've met so many cool people throughout the years, but it's hard. And it's not just hard as far as the artwork goes. It's hard because of the sacrifices that you make.
Like what?
Just the working all the time. You're giving up weekends. You're giving up nights. You're giving up, you become almost married to the industry.
I have to ask, what? And I respect what you're saying, but you can't just cut it off and say, hey, I'm available between 8 a.m. and 8.
You can't do that. You're available all the time.
What would happen if you said, no, I'm not?
You would lose people. People would start walking.
Yeah.
Because people are very, I want this right now. I want this. Instant gratification. We live in this instant gratification world. And so if you don't reply to a message, a text, a email within, a couple minutes, they're on to the next 5 people that they're emailing.
In my industry, they say now it's down to 3 to 5 seconds that if you get a buyer lead in on your phone, if you don't answer it within that amount of time, they're already on to another person asking. So totally understand that. The other question I do not want to forget is you're talking about your son sort of interested. Are you born as an artist, or can you teach yourself to be an artist?
I think anybody can learn how to be an artist. It's just a process that you can learn. But I don't think that you can teach creativity.
Okay.
So I think it's that putting the soul into the art. I don't think you can teach that, but anybody can learn how to draw.
Okay.
Because it's
There's
a process.
Hope for us,
There's hope for you.
Well, I'll tell you, this has been great. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy day to come and share with Temecula.
Yeah, and if you want to, your Instagram is?
It's melissafreeman.tattoo.
And we'll put that in the video.
Yeah.
Melissa Freeman. And Charles, thank you.
You're welcome. That was fun.
It was fun.
Intriguing. Very insightful. I'm like, I learned something today.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to say in regards to Charles, one of the best guys, if you're a veteran and you need to purchase a home or refinance a home, this guy is the guy. I'm telling you, there is nobody in Southern California that's going to help you, better than this guy. So
thank you for the kind words.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And this
Thanks
was
for
awesome.
having me, guys.
And hopefully you get some calls from this, and we appreciate it.
Oh, she will. Thanks, guys, for watching. We'll see you on the next episode of Temecula Spotlight. Take care.